I'd like to call the Board of Public Works and Safety meeting to order on Tuesday, January 4th, 2022. It is approximately 9:06 a.m. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Attorney Otis.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Public comment. There's nobody here from the public. Anybody on social media?
Not yet.
Clerk Treasurer Parthun. Claims approval.
Okay, sure. We have payroll from December 23rd, 2021 in the amount of $387,817.60.
I move we approve the payroll.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
We have fourth quarter payroll for police and fire merit in the amount of $1,926.88.
I move we approve the police and fire merit payroll.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
We have civil city claims in the amount of $1,590,177.13. Much of that is bond payments, and we paid as much as we could from 2021 appropriations.
I move we approve the civil city claims.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
We have water claims in the amount of $267,618.92.
I move we approve the water claims.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Then lastly, we have sewage claims in the amount of $152,329.56.
I move we approve the sewage claims.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Clerk Treasurer Parthun. Department head reports, and since Jen Knoll has the proper background with the city logo on it, she gets to go first. So, Jen Knoll, Human Resources.
Good morning. We're just playing catch up with being out for the holidays for a couple of days, and also keeping abreast of the latest with the CDC guidelines, which we'll hear about shortly in our updated communicable disease policy. And that's all I have this morning.
Mark Schreiber, Parks.
Good morning. Thank you, Mayor. Again, we want to remind everybody about the exciting basketball event we have coming this Thursday through Saturday, the U.S. Marines NIBC LaPorte Invitational. $20 tickets, we still have them available. There are some available for all sessions. Friday and Saturday are getting very limited though, so people need to act fast. Obviously, if we can have them available at the door, we will, but an 8-team event, 4 games per day each day. 7 of the 8 teams ranked nationally, and just a ton of top prospects. So encourage everybody to get their tickets. Special treat for everybody on Friday will be the Superstars are coming. This is one of the top performers for halftimes throughout the area. See them at a lot of college and professional games. So they'll be performing throughout the day on Friday. So be especially exciting for families to come out. One thing that we would like to touch on this morning as well is we have been working with Paragon Marketing, who's our partners here, as well as the NIBC and their member schools on some COVID protocols for the event. That's been an ongoing discussion throughout the past several weeks as to how we're going to handle some things. We are reducing the capacity of the Civic for this, so we will have less than just a little over 1,000 people in the balcony, reducing by 25%. I'd like to also point out, there are 4 games each day, so we don't really anticipate there ever being that many people even in the stands. So we want to give everybody an opportunity to social distance from their immediate families. We feel we accomplished that. Also, all staff will be wearing masks. We'll also be doing temperature checks with staff, and we'll be strongly encouraging all of the people in attendance to mask up for it. And we'll have masks available for anybody who needs one when they arrive. We have more than enough for the crowd that we anticipate. And the other component that we worked on with the member schools in the NIBC is a testing protocol for the participants. So all of the traveling parties with the schools tested on Saturday. They will be testing again Thursday morning before they would ever come over to the Civic. And then after that, any tests would be done if anybody was symptomatic. So we feel we've created a safe environment. We're excited for the event, and we look forward to it. It's gonna be great exposure with the first 3 games on Thursday on ESPNU, which is available on most cable and streaming services, and then ESPN Plus streaming all the remaining games. It's gonna be a great way to get exposure for the community, and we're excited for it.
And Mark, while I have you confirmed volunteer-wise for the water department? Because if you're going to need those individuals, we're going to want to pass Board of Works to only offer drive-through for Thursday and Friday of this week.
That is on the agenda for today, I believe.
Because I did not see it.
I believe that is an agenda item.
Employee passes.
Okay, so is it going to be part of that? Okay, great. Jerry Jackson, wastewater.
There we go, got it. Just report, we closed on 705 A Street. The board approved that purchase, I think the last meeting, so that's closed on. We'll bid demo here shortly. And then that we had the last piece of the project for Lakeside was starting up the generator at our Lane Street lift station. We got that done yesterday. That was successful. So that project's pretty well done. Good to have it done.
Great. Nick Minnick, engineering. Thank you for being brave enough to join us.
Well, I had the most agenda items, I thought, so I should maybe show up. I did want to mention, and this will be later on here, that we do have our community crossings agreement for paving. So there were only 2 streets that didn't make the cut from the state, so we know kind of which streets we're doing, and working with all the other departments to make sure that any projects they have in the vicinity of those are also accounted for in our projects. We'll plan to bid this project kind of within the next 2 to 3 weeks. We want to award in either February. I think we want to award in February is the goal. So.
Beth West, transport.
Morning. Just starting on year-end reports that I have to give to NERC and the FTA. Roughly, we did almost 33,000 transport of individuals last year and traveled over 106,000 miles. So we're looking forward to increasing those numbers this year and hopefully getting to be full staff.
And breaking even financially. Craig Phillips, planning.
Good morning. I have nothing new to report.
Andy Snyder, Fire Department.
Thank you. We're just basically not much going on. We're transitioning into the new year. We did take a delivery of 3 positive pressure fans, battery operated positive pressure fans that we had received from FEMA. So we're excited about that. And we are also excited today, as of today, we are full staff with nobody out with COVID. So hopefully we're going to stay on that path.
That's great news. Bert Cook, LEAP.
Yeah, good morning, Mayor. Good morning to the Board of Public Works. Two things this morning. One, just a reminder, the LEAP offices have moved. We are at 605 Michigan, no longer in the train depot. So if anyone needs us, that is our new location. And then just an update for the board. The Redevelopment Commission received 2 bids for the 25 acres of industrial property along Boyd Boulevard. They received those bids at their last meeting. Those are under evaluation as we speak, and we're hopeful that we'll be able to award at the end of this month. Both bids were reputable developers, reputable local developers, so we're excited to be able to pursue both those opportunities. Thank you.
And with development, I'd also like to mention Craig Phillips being new. He will have a 2022 focus of residential development, so we're excited about that. We know the need from top to bottom when it comes to housing in LaPorte. Chief Breton, Police.
We're down to, we have 2 officers still out with COVID. Expect those, they're asymptomatic now. We expect them back by Wednesday, hopefully, and hopefully we'll hold our own. Also, next Thursday on the 13th, Captain Tom Thate will retire with 33 years of service with Porte Police Department. I'm going to have a luncheon for him here, so everybody's invited at 11 o'clock. Come wish him well. That's all I have.
31 years, did you say, Chief?
33.
33.
Wow, amazing. Thank you to Officer Thate for his commitment to our community, keeping it safe. Tim Warner, Water Department.
Thank you. Good morning. We finished up our cleaning on our EPA well a couple weeks ago. Got it back in service, passed all the tests. At the same time, we took the discount on mobilization fees and had key number 3 pulled to get cleaned also. Ran into some pump issues with that, so it is still down. The pump is in the pump repair shop. We should have it back sometime late this week, get it installed, and then go back through back tease testing and get that well back online. Working through some Scada issues, as y'all are aware, we put in a new Scada program. It's been an ongoing process for quite a while, and we had some issues. I think it's antennas with the icing and stuff. So crews are working through that this morning, and we are definitely in main break season. I think most of you are aware we had a main break on Christmas. We've had a couple cents leaks, so that. It's that time of year, just asking the public, when they see us out working, slow down, take their time in our work area. As the mayor was well aware, it's easy to get splashed when people drive by at a high rate of speed. That's all I had this morning.
And thank you for reminding me of that, Tim. And also, what can residents do in the cold weather with their pipes and so forth? Anything that you'd recommend?
Yeah, it's important to cut off those drafts. If there's any drafts blowing in a crawl space, basement, any windows cracked where that cold air is blowing on, any kind of water pipe, the water meter, opening up those cabinet doors underneath your sink if it's an outside wall. Once the temperatures get real cold, just allow that heat from the house into the cabinet space. Just keep in mind, it is getting colder out. It's not cold enough yet to run the trickle of water. Maybe later in the week that would be a possibility. If you've had frozen lines in the past, and we're only talking a pencil lead stream of water is enough to keep those lines open. If you do have shallow lines and you've experienced frozen lines in the past, it is time to start being aware of that.
Jeff Batchelor, Street Department / Code Enforcement.
Yeah, good morning. We finished up with the leaves last week. This week, we're kind of working on finishing up the roads. There's still a lot of ice on some of the roads. We're out there working on that today. We're going to do some patching over on Boyd Boulevard. We're going to do some trimming the trees. We're going to mark some stumps. And then we also are going to take all the decorations down downtown. And in code enforcement, we're just getting started for the new year and continue doing what we've been doing.
Jess Bruder, Communications. Nick Otis, Legal. Those department heads that do not have business before the board, have a great week. New business, employee passes, NIBC tournament.
Okay, Jen, are you taking this or am I taking this?
Yeah, you can take it. I wasn't aware if I was or not. It wasn't under my
Mr.
name.
Schreiber.
Sorry about that.
Okay, no, that's fine. I didn't see mine either. So anyway, yeah, so we were asking for city employees to be allowed to, if they would like to be off work Thursday after 12 noon, to come and be part of the NIBC, to come check out the first two games of the day, which would be at noon and 2.
I don't think he knows he's.
Mark, did you?
Check a couple games for free. So we're requesting that any full-time city employee that would like to come check out a game, that they're able to. Any employee that is unable to because of duties, we are offering them an opportunity to come see.
Mark, could you repeat that? The last part, could you repeat that?
About any employee that would be unable to.
Correct.
Because of duties. Yeah, we would then offer them a pass to come to either Thursday evening or some point on Friday, either the early session or late session.
And then that,
Can I also add that the requirement would be that they pick up the pass or they're on a list at the Civic, correct?
Correct. So we would just send this out to department heads. They would be able to get a list of who would like to come to the games on Thursday, or if they need it to be another time, and then we would put them on a pass list at the door.
and then we would also address, if you need people to work the Civic from the water department here, we would then go to a drive-through only. Is that going to be needed for Thursday and Friday? Would you need these individuals here to work the Civic?
I believe that's what was discussed. Courtney could probably say, you know, what she and Brett discussed on it, but yes, I believe that would be the case.
So then what we'll do is we will make a motion as a part of the time off as well, then to offer drive-through services Thursday and Friday for the retail water department, which really in the cold weather, most everybody.
For utility billing.
For utility
Yeah.
billing. And really, for the cold weather, we really want to encourage everybody to use the drive-through, so they don't have to get out in the cold weather, come here. Obviously, COVID as well, so we would encourage everybody to use the drive-through throughout the winter month. But for this Thursday and Friday, then do I have a motion to approve the time off for the tournament as well as drive-through option only Thursday and Friday for utility billing?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Jen Knoll.
I don't have the updated agenda in front of me. Is this the communicable disease policy first or the wastewater certification pay?
Communicable disease.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So I've updated the communicable disease policy based on the latest CDC guidelines, which decreases the amount of days for isolation or quarantine for positive cases or for exposures. And so that language is in the policy attached, which you should have received. And those sections are highlighted in blue. So I guess just to summarize, for anybody who tests positive, vaccinated or not, they're required to stay home for 5 days. If symptoms go away or they're resolving after the 5 days, those employees can come back to work They just have to continue to wear a mask around others for an additional 5 days. And then exposure, those guidelines are based off of vaccination status and whether that was within the last 6 months or longer than that. And then also for those who were boosted or not boosted. So for those who have been recently boosted and had a vaccine within the last 6 months or had a vaccine within the last 6 months, I'm sorry, they would need to wear a mask around others for 10 days if they were exposed, and then test on day 5 and submit those results to their supervisor or HR. For those who were unvaccinated or were vaccinated greater than 6 months ago, they need to stay home for 5 days upon exposure, and then continue to wear a mask around others for an additional 5 days, and test on day 5 as well. I did put in there, just because of police and fire and our utilities departments who work 24/7. In the case of a staff shortage, if they cannot have employees quarantine, they can require those employees to wear a mask for 10 days, but that would be on a case-by-case basis.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second discussion. I'd just like to say, I mean, there's hope that, that this pandemic is hopeful that we can get it under control at some point this year. In the meantime, just be smart, responsible. For those that would like to have COVID testing, there's COVID testing available. There's vaccines available. If you need information, call us here at City Hall and we can connect you. So, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Mayor, just of note, Jen and I have been watching, following the OSHA mandate by President Biden. The U.S. Supreme Court is hearing oral arguments later this week on that, and hopefully we'll have a little more clarity before February when enforcement starts.
Jen Knoll, next.
Next, we've got, I'm requesting authorization for certification pay for a wastewater employee who has certifications that are not listed on our salary ordinance. However, there is language on our salary ordinance that says if the Board of Works approves or if the wastewater director thinks that this certification would meet the criteria for additional pay, that we could approve it as such. And so the certification is for pretreatment coordinator certifications, which are through the US EPA. So I'm asking for your approval to process the certification pay for the amount of $1.40 an hour for a salaried employee, effective January 1st of 2022.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second discussion. Jerry Jackson, any thoughts from your perspective and what this means in simple form for the residents, why this is important?
It's an incentive to get our employees trained, have the proper training. And in this case, we didn't have the right. We should have called it out in the ordinance and didn't. And this is just updating it to make sure that we have the proper certification called out.
Jen, are we basing the $1.40 an hour because this person is salaried? So is that based on 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year? Is that how we're coming?
He also has, so he has the max amount of certifications that would be needed to get the $1.40 additional. So he also has 2 industrial operators licenses in addition to the 2 pre-treatment certifications.
Okay, but we're basing it on. Okay, but we're basing it on, so if we take $1, the person is salaried, so I'm just asking if we're basing that on 40 hours a week,
Yeah, we're gonna take the
52.
$1.40 times 2080.
Okay.
And add that to the salary.
So, and is this in line with what other communities are doing in regards to this level of certification?
It's a little low. It's, other communities, I don't know, we're in the middle. Other communities have bigger numbers, so few have had smaller.
Okay.
I mean, really, we've been, as you were aware last year, for the first two, we've been low. We've been at the bottom. And we're now in all our departments, and we increased, or with Clerk Treasurer Parthun, $750,000 towards raises, so we can become more competitive, and I think we're starting to see that here, so.
And it's in line with the other certifications that we offer for wastewater and water. It's the same, the amount per certification is the same for those other certifications. It was just, and it also, the salary position hours are listed in the salary ordinance as well. So everything is in there except for the actual US DPA, which we'll get added next year to the salary ordinance.
And as
We want to incent people for furthering their commitment to the city of LaPorte.
And our expectations are rising too as well, so we want to have the top people for the best LaPorte possible, so that's where we see this. So, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Nick Minnick.
First item I have for the board today is requesting approval of DES number 1601867 plan set. This is Chessy Trail Phase 2. I have a copy of the cover sheet here for signatures by the Board of Works. This is, exciting project. This is the next phase of Chessy, which takes it from essentially Newport Boulevard to near the street department, past the hospital, kind of through some nice neighborhoods. So it's a great project, and I would recommend approval.
I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second discussion, and in simple form, we're in simple form mode today. So it'll come from Starbucks
Yep.
and go through, explain where it'll run.
Starbucks, past the hospital, along First Street, crossing Lincoln Way and J Street there at the kind of 5-point intersection, and then turning by Transport and ending near the parking lot across the street from Transport.
But we'll cross Pine Lake,
It'll cross Pine Lake Ave, correct.
and then will it go compared to where the
It'll be in the,
dealership is?
it'll be behind that, so it'll be along
lake.
along Lily Lake in the Chessy corridor.
How nice will that be? That's really, that's gonna be fantastic, that it's gonna go along the lake, the backside, that people probably haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, and I think it's hard to kind of see it unless you start to really look, but from the hospital to Starbucks and kind of the things we have going on in Newport Landing, it's just a few blocks. It's not very far, but we don't realize it because right now there's no great way to get there. So we should have really good access to Newport Landing from the hospital and other developments in downtown.
And from a safety perspective, crossing Pine Lake,
Yeah, so we're crossing at a signalized intersection, which is about the safest thing we can do on Pine Lake Ave. It's not, any crossing of Pine Lake Ave isn't ideal. This is something that we'll talk more about in the future with the north-south corridor and other things. Pine Lake Ave is essentially, it's one of the highest traffic streets in LaPorte County. And over time, we just add capacity, and it's really split our community in two. It's a barrier more than anything else. So pedestrian crossings like this, we need to be very cautious of and figure out the safest thing. And we'll be crossing on the south side of the Newport Boulevard intersection and offering a pedestrian refuge island in order to have a safe spot to wait if you can't make it all the way across Pine Lake Ave in one go. So trying to do everything we can to make it as safe as possible. In the future, we'll look at some additional kind of trail connections under the overpass as well. But the Chessy Trail really is intended to stay as close to and within the Chessy corridor as possible.
And start to finish estimated?
We hope that it is usable by the end of this year. We think, you know, there'll be some elements like the first Chessy Trail that trailheads and benches and things like that maybe in the spring of next year, but our goal would be to have it open and usable by the end of this year.
I'm telling you, it's what's gonna make LaPorte special. People have been asking for this. We need to get, take advantage of what makes our community special, and this definitely, in my mind, does that. If you can picture that trail, great job. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
The next item would be INDOT LPA Agreement, DES number 2101444. This is our application from 2021, but it's our 2022 paving project. So this is just the LPA Grant Agreement. This is all done, as I mentioned before, electronically now, so board members should be receiving an email, and you'd want to sign that electronic. I will add, and I don't know if we can add this at this point, but we did receive another one yesterday, and that was for an extension of 1902002, which is Park Street. And in both of those grant agreements are standard boilerplate, and I would recommend that we allow the board to sign as necessary.
So do we need to do a separate motion for that one? Or
Yes.
can we do them combined?
I would do a separate motion.
So do I have a motion first for DES number 2101444?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion?
You mentioned earlier that this is all part of the community crossings,
Correct.
right? So you mentioned earlier that 2 streets didn't make the cut. What does that mean?
So we had 2 streets that, for whatever reason, they kicked out. I don't know if there was an issue with the application, if they didn't like something, we don't really know. It'd be Industrial, which is the street north of Boyd Boulevard. So if you would continue straight on Boyd Boulevard at Lincoln Way, that 1 block section was cut out. We do have money for Darlington Street behind that. And then as well, we were hoping to do Madison as part of this project. Madison didn't make the cut for whatever reason too. So, and that's essentially from Lincoln Way to Washington was that section. It's, we would have liked to get it in good condition. It needs to be, repaired. We were looking at doing an overlay on it, not looking at a total reconstruction. That area is going to be very key in the future as we look at old hospital site redevelopment. So although we would like to see it in good condition now, we do foresee more changes in that area in the future. So we don't want to invest too much in that street, and I think we'll have to just figure out a way to maintain it well in the near term, and then hopefully we see, like I said, redevelopment of that area, and things could change at that point.
Okay.
And then as well, the number 1 call I get is for the post office road.
That's included in this.
That's
And
included,
and
so
honestly, this was a street department really pushed for this. One of the issues with that is it's a brick street. So we're going to overlay a brick street again. And again, we're really trying to work towards being able to do full reconstruction of streets that need reconstruction. That street needs a full reconstruction, but the money's available and it does need repaired now. So both of those streets in that Chicago and State by the post office will be repaved. But again, we're doing some people would call more of a Band-Aid. It's cost effective at this point to do it that way, knowing that again, that whole area, we plan to see some redevelopment in the near future.
So just to be clear, like those streets right there, they're not part of the community crossings, but we're going to proceed.
They are.
With, they are. Those are. But
By
the
the
Madison.
post
State and
office.
Chicago are part
Okay,
of the program.
state,
Yes.
those are part of cross, okay. so the Madison is not, didn't make the cut.
We'll have to find some way to get it in better shape because it's in very poor condition.
It's obviously it's a priority, so that's something that outside of community crossings, we're gonna look at trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
You know, within, you know, the budget or some other mechanism, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of work, obviously. We'll also have some federal funds that we're dealing with some roads, housing, as you've seen the kind of the presentation of the ARP money, of what we want to do. And part of that as well as road-wise is to look at the streetscape at Monroe and kind of developing that. I'd love to see that road possibly eventually. We differ, we discuss possibly blocked off to make it a more walkable downtown, north of Lincoln Way, Monroe to State. We've seen with the parking lots. Nick, we agree in concept, just on the closure is different, but I'm excited for what's coming.
Yeah, and having great resources and Craig Phillips has been a great resource. Kind of having some additional input. I think we may be coming to a happy medium between my engineer's approach of keeping roads open and more community focused,
Walkable downtown.
walkable place. So.
He's choosing his words carefully today.
I figure I just wanted to throw that out there, give Amanda a little taste too, so she knew that was gonna. But can you imagine that being a more safer area to walk, family, kids,
Sure.
in Monroe? So I see you're shaking that you would agree that that road probably needs to be closed to traffic. It sounds like you too.
And the right way for the right reasons.
We're looking at what would be considered like a walkable street concept. This is, you can see this, Valpo has done this on a street in their downtown. They're all over the place, but essentially you use physical barriers that can be moved. So then for festivals and different things, you have essentially one plaza space, but for daily use, you still have access and parking, so.
I see.
I like where-
Conceptually nodding in agreement, but
Yes.
reserving the right to disagree later.
So I do have a motion
After
and a
looking at the
second.
detail,
Further
yeah.
discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Bids for tree planting project.
Can we sneak Park Street in?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Do we have a motion for Park Street?
That's right.
You got the number, the extension?
1902002.
The second, the one
Yeah,
that's
this-
separate, sorry.
Yeah, and.
Yeah,
and
I'll
this
make
is
a
just to
motion for that
extend
as
the
well.
dates.
So moved.
Do I have a
Second.
I have a motion and a second discussion. And just a reminder, is this to do with the overpass?
This is actually to do with the complementary project, which is reconstruction of Park Street up to probably Pine. So that'll include intersection improvements at Bach. And that's what the time extension's really about, is intersection improvements will likely require a small amount of right-of-way acquisition, and right-of-way acquisition adds timeline to a project, so.
This will help move the overpass forward.
Yes, it's very important. They're, like I said, complementary projects, reconstruction of Park Street to make sure that it's kind of recognizable as a residential area, but also providing kind of a thoroughfare at the same time, really focused on passenger vehicles, not trucks, so the two projects are linked very much.
So that,
Not financially, because the overpass project is a 100% state-funded project, and Park Street is a federally funded project.
so that reconstruction will run all the way down through, you said through, up to Pine, and then includes that,
Yes,
straightening that intersection right there of Bach and McClung?
reconfiguring the intersection.
Okay.
Right now, we have several concepts, but the one that most likely would move forward, and this is because the geometry works almost perfect, would be a roundabout.
Which I think is a great idea. That'd be right there. I'm sorry, I won't use streets because I didn't grow up there, but I'll use areas. Is that the restaurant, where the restaurant is right there?
Correct, yep.
I mean, I think a roundabout would be great there.
It'd be our first roundabout.
No, second.
Where's our first?
And we have a traffic
roundabout?
circle.
Port Landing.
Port Landing, yeah.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
I
I
would
don't
then
use
be
it
able to
enough,
proudly say
apparently.
we've increased our roundabouts by 200%.
You've doubled, yeah.
Since
doubled
starting
it.
at the city.
But that intersection is squarely within my lifetime wheelhouse of having been through it a lot, so it's not a good intersection, for sure.
No, and really, the geometry of a roundabout is streets coming in kind of at those angles. So it fits well partially too because limited right-of-way will be necessary to do that. It becomes very key. We do have concerns as traffic increases on Park Street. We want to make sure that that traffic is controlled well, that's calm and not just kind of flying out of town or flying into the city. So that roundabout will function well in that area too. Part of the Park Street design, we have some kind of bump outs with parking areas in to have protected parking areas. Right now, you see cars kind of parked up in the tree lawn and wherever they can find, but with having a little more protection, we think we can create a lot more attractive corridor, and hopefully our investment then spurs investment in the houses in that area too.
Well, because that standard has to be addressed, code enforcement is beginning. People shouldn't have to live in conditions on Park Street. It's unacceptable, like we've done in other parts of the area. But number two, and I've got the data, and I will tell you, Nick Minnick has done a great job of using state, federal funds to fund the majority of this overpass. And when you look at the data, I can't imagine why anybody is opposed to this overpass, the safety concerns, and especially ambulance, fire, where they cross. This will not stop them at the railroad tracks. And there's enough data, and I'm gonna bring it out. I'll be glad to do it because Nick has done, he's allowed other governmental agencies to finance the majority of this, but also it makes us a safer community. So again, I don't understand it. I think when people see this, it will be a fantastic project.
There's change involved, and I know that a lot of times it's a struggle to see, things a little bit different, but when you look at the final project and you look at how traffic's going to flow, we're going to provide a lot safer access across our railroad tracks here in the city. And we see over and over, I know Michigan City's having issues. We have a lot of issues on kind of the west side of the city with trains just parking, and there's almost no control or stopping the railroad from just parking trains when they want to park trains. It becomes a huge barrier, and if we see that increase, which again we can't control, that's a really a public safety nightmare to have a train parked in our downtown and not be able to access the north or south side, other than with the overpass or the underpass, which again we have times when the overpass gets shut down too. So we really need some redundancy in our system in order to provide that safe access, and this is our opportunity.
Is there still a link on that video that shows kind of the issues with the north-south corridor that have been done, like for all of the different traffics and how it's going to increase greatly over the next 10 to 20 years? Is that still is that on the city website, or where is that?
There's a north-south corridor website that has a short video.
Okay, yeah, I think it's very powerful watching that and informative.
And I think it's important, because I love talking about the corridor, so we'll just tie this in here. When we talk about the north-south corridor, what really becomes key, a lot of people don't see a north-south route helping us east-west on Lincoln Way. But with the overpass, with the project that's in the heart of the Porte plan, which is a Lake Street extension, we'll have a continuous east-west route on the north side of the railroad tracks like we do on the south side. So we have Washington and State, and you can kind of maneuver, and we have Lincoln Way. But with our Lake Street extension project, you'll be able to go essentially from one side of the city to Park Street, Tipton Street, without having to cross the tracks, so it'll offer us that. And then we're also looking at, in that heart of the Porte plan, Polk Street. So we're looking at kind of improving our east-west connectivity to kind of also reduce the traffic we have on Lincoln Way, so we can start to create a more livable downtown. So there's a lot in play, and some of it shows up, like I said, in the heart of the Porte plan. But I think it's important for the public to know that the east-west corridor is not or the north-south corridor is not just about north-south, it's about east-west, and all these projects play in, and the city's investing heavily in trying to make sure that all these issues are addressed, not just trying to push things out into the county, but we're really looking at addressing our issues here in the city first, and simultaneously with creating a much needed alternative transportation corridor.
But as well, you talk about the county who led this at the beginning, the economic development. This is good for the county. That's why they've pushed it. We're just supporting the county on this. And now you look at the project south of Walmart, the potential there. You look at Thomas Rose, expansion, growth, truck traffic. The trucks do not want to be on Lincoln Way. They want to get in and out, drop, pick up, and go. And this gives them an opportunity. And people talk about jobs. They want in this area and in the county. Businesses are going to come where they can have access to that in and off ramp to load, unload, and move and sell their products. So this is a great opportunity. We're glad the county led it, and we're partnering with them. And Nick has done his job, and speaking with those farming individuals, I'm going to say they get it. They may not like it, but they get it.
Yeah, we do have a lot of people who will be impacted that understand it. And again, they're right to not be happy with any loss of property or anything like that may occur. But a lot of people do understand it and understand the importance of the corridor.
So I do have a motion. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Receiving bids for the tree planting project that are not just maples, I assume.
Not just maples, no. This is a great project. This is a grant that Sarah Nimitz, our sustainability program manager, was able to get through the DNR. And this will help all the trees that have been coming down. This will really help us start seeing trees going back up. This, again, I think Sarah's talked about this grant in the past. This is based on the scoring and how DNR works, kind of focuses on some lower income neighborhoods and trying to make sure that they have adequate tree canopy, which provides a lot for those neighborhoods. So.
Do you want to come over this way?
Sure.
Thanks. We've received 3 bids,
All right.
which is not, I think she sent out 9 or 10. Anyway, first bid. I should have just kept that over there. You're gonna have to talk about that.
The first bid, and it's actually, we're using our standard quote form for this. So the first bid or quote from Possibility Place Nursery, and this is a rather long list of trees, but boiled down to one cost. Total amount is $2,935. And that's from Possibility Place Nursery.
And Nick, while we're opening, why is it important not just to have maple?
We really need diversity in our tree canopy. So, it's about, and Sarah could explain this better, so we'll maybe have her at the next Board of Works meeting when we look to award. But we all love our maple trees here in the city, except tree professionals seem to not like them.
Their root structures aren't always good. It depends on where they're planted, but their root structures can be very disruptive to sidewalks. If you've ever been on Woodlawn Drive, where I live, into Beechwood, they get all topsy-turvy. I'm sure along Michigan as well you see it. And then there's also just issues with the health of certain trees, maples included. A lot of times silver maples were planted years and years ago. Great tree, but not great residentially.
Yeah. And having diversity in our tree canopy is also important for disease and blight and things like that. So If we only have maples and those maples are affected by whether it be a pest or a fungus or something, then we no longer have trees in the city. So the whole goal is to have a very diverse tree canopy. We really try and use as many natives as possible. So these nurseries are providing a lot of native species. There's a lot that goes into selecting these species, and I'll keep reading these, but we may have to actually select a couple of these nurseries based on availability of tree species too. So
We could have Jess Romine, it sounds like, help educate people too.
I'd love to.
I grew up on Michigan Ave. You could really get some good air with your bicycle with the different, cracks and elevations in the sidewalk, so.
yeah, and our goal is to make sure that people are going to the park and the skate park or the
Or those
mountain bike
things.
trails, and then people are able to walk on our sidewalks. Kind of the
Safely.
Well,
long-term goal.
it is very costly. I mean, we're part of a settlement agreement that, we have to improve the sidewalks because of that issue. They're not accessible in many places for handicapped individuals.
But again, remember, the courts came to that agreement, and before, the residents were not, the city was not responsible to repair the sidewalks. It was left up to home ownership, and taxes did not pay that. And so now we're required to do the sidewalks, yet no increase in funding happened with taxes to fund the sidewalk. Amanda, you're gonna have a full stories all day on what we're giving you today.
Yeah, ADA requirements were a completely unfunded mandate by the state in order to, get us to be where we need to be. It's not that we don't need to do it, it's just a challenge financially. But we are committed and we are chipping away at it. The next quote is from Cardno, and again, certain nurseries have certain trees, so this is not to shock anybody, but the quote from Cardno is $24,125. So we're looking at a much higher number, but they may have more tree species available. So again, Cardno is $24,125 is their quote.
Was there an issue with Cardinal? On
There's
something else?
No, Cardno does a really great job with our management of invasives. So they,
Reseeded, didn't they reseed? Yeah.
Yep, they helped us out on Lakeshore
Clear
Drive,
Lake or-
and they are helping us on Clear Lake. So they've done a great job for us here in the community.
Did they initially do that piece, or did they do the
They did
fix?
not. They fixed.
Fix,
Yep,
okay.
they were
It
our.
was the
Yeah.
other company I was
The other
thinking.
company was, yeah.
Yeah. We had, Gary Up is a general contractor, and they kind of attempted to do it on their own, and really needed the expertise of a Cardno to get in there and make it right. So they do wonderful work.
Are we talking about the same number of trees?
So
Give them
it's-
like species and then numbers?
yeah, so the total cost is from page 2 in this, and in page 2 we have quantities, say 5 tulip trees, 4 American sycamore, 2 sweet gum, 3 northern hackberry. So certain nurseries don't have this many trees available, so they wouldn't have quoted on all of those trees.
Low demographic areas.
So are we
we're
talking about 14 total trees or
No, we're talking about 60 trees.
60 trees? Okay,
Yeah,
thank
but
you.
we're comparing apples to apples, but you don't see the full apple in the total number here, and that's why we'll have to.
Prepare like a
Yeah.
bid tabulation, so you can see costs by tree or by line item, so you can see what the actual cost is from bid to bid.
And this was a challenge to put the quote form together because when we put in our DNR grant, we had to specify locations and species. And we can ask to have some of those modified, but the only way to do that is to have all the species and bid all the species. But again, not all nurseries have those, so we want to make sure we're getting the highest quality trees. And if we say, well, we need all these species from one source, they may have to get them from wholesalers that we're not necessarily getting the quality we're looking for. So we've kind of worked that into the contract and everything, but the only way to properly follow all of our bidding requirements is either to have our total and allow them to kind of mark the trees they don't have.
Okay.
Or we can read off their individual costs for the entire page of specific tree species.
I think we prefer you to bring a bid tabulation to the
Okay.
next meeting.
That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah. Because it's also based on the caliper
Yes.
of the size of the tree,
Mhm.
so that could differ between,
Yeah.
correct?
I mean,
Okay.
it seems like this would be a motion that has to have sort of the expertise to
Yeah,
pick and
of the
choose between
engineering department.
potentially
and-
all bidders,
Yeah.
right, to get exactly what we want for the right price.
Kind of like what happened with our ARP dollars for the Parks and Rec Department. It was kind of,
With vehicles and,
Yeah.
okay.
So we need a motion that will state, have the engineering and legal.
I don't know that you need a motion at all at the,
Just to review.
So he's just, okay.
right. And
So
make,
you'll present your recommendation, yours and Sarah's.
So we don't need a motion to review.
correct, because you weren't accepting them, we weren't accepting the bids today, correct?
We're receiving
We're
them.
receiving them
Right.
and forwarding for review.
Right.
Okay.
And we do have one more bid.
one more bid. Ready?
And this is from Dogwood Hills Tree Farm. We've actually had quite a bit of luck with them. They did a nice job with the trees in Newport Landing. Dogwood Hills Tree Farm, their total bid is in the amount of $15,600. And just looking at their, just as an example, if you look at their form, you can see the species that they don't have available. But they've also indicated that we've requested, 5 of this species, 3 of this species, and they have more of the other species available. So that's the type of things that we'll need to review and make sure that we're meeting all of our requirements per the DNR grant. Any changes we make, we'll have to forward those changes to the DNR and get their approval as well.
How much did we receive from DNR?
This is a 50/50 grant?
50/50,
Yeah.
got it.
Yep, so 10,000 from them, and then we've allocated 10,000 as well.
Great.
Great, thank you. Unfinished business. Other business. I would just like to say, the depot will, for an extension of till the 14th of January, be available for COVID testing 8 to 4, Tuesday through Saturday. It looks like the retail locations, CVS, Walgreens, Walmart will also have availability for COVID tests. We seem to get a lot of calls. Vaccinations are available at the old hospital. Boostered. Anybody that needs help, please contact us. We'll make sure you can do to be safe and make sure your family's safe as well. Come out to the basketball tournament. I think Mark Schreiber and the team has put together a safe environment to enjoy for 3 days. And
Mayor, for the testing at the depot?
Please, yes.
Can anyone just, if they're concerned, or
Walk
do they
in.
have to have any certain criteria to be?
Just walk in.
Okay.
Just walk in and be tested. And then, as you can see, just with the taste of what Mr. Minnick talked about, that's only just a small breath of what we're looking to do this year. This is a big year in the city of LaPorte. We're focused, we're ready. Last year is over, so buckle up. We're ready to go. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned.